All right, 3, 2, 1. Hi, this is William Ramsey. Welcome to William Ramsey Investigates. On tonight's show, I have a very special guest. Somebody who reached out to me. His name is Flat Earth Dave, and he wants to talk about his position on Flat Earth. I told him before we started the show that I believe the Earth is round, but I'm willing to just talk with him, let him make his points, and when he's done, I'll ask him a couple questions, and then hopefully the listener will be edified either way. So, Dave, are you there?
I'm here. How's it going, William?
I'm doing well. Thanks for agreeing or coming on the show. Thanks for sending me the email.
And,
For people who may,
no, I want to say one thing is that your opening statement is better than my opening statement was, because when I first heard about Flat Earth, I didn't want to hear it. I wouldn't watch anything. I wouldn't even have the discussion.
when did you first hear about this notion of flat Earth?
Around 2015, I was doing a podcast and people started sending me, "Hey, Dave, have you looked into Flat Earth?" And I just thought it was a joke, and then they kept coming, and I just refused to watch any links that they put in. It's the dumbest thing ever. We all know the Earth is a globe, sunset, seasons, boats over the horizon, all of that stuff. And then I was forced to look, kicking and screaming, and that's when I found out that my conception of what Flat Earth was a programmed conception by the powers that be to make you laugh at Flat Earth. And my understanding of the heliocentric model was never enough to understand how ridiculous it is. I call it the helio-nonsensical model.
The helio-nonsensical. So you had some moment. Would you say that it was like an epiphany that you realized that it was flat Earth, or did you have to research and study?
Oh, I mean, I've been researching every day, all day, every day for 6 years. And, I started when the way you become a flat earther is you try to debunk flat Earth. You try to prove it wrong or prove the globe right. And then once you do that, all of a sudden you just start seeing, there's things that fall into three baskets. One basket is, hey, that only works on a ball, or only works on a flat Earth. That works on a flat Earth and a ball Earth. Plenty of things that do that, like east-west circumnavigation. And then only works on a ball Earth. And when you find out nothing goes into that last basket, you start scratching your head. So I was seeing, all of these reports that we can see too far. If we're on a ball, things should go over the curve at a certain distance. So I researched what that rate formula drop was, and then I bought a $1,000 camera and tripod, super zoom camera, and started zooming in on things that I shouldn't be able to see, and there they were.
Okay. Sorry for laughing, but aren't you like the human eye cannot even see the part of how far that edge of the Earth is, right?
Well, no. I mean, the edge of the Earth, according to heliocentric math, a 6-foot tall person standing at the edge of calm water, the horizon should only be 3 miles away. There's a 6-foot drop at 3 miles. So a 6-foot tall person, that should be their physical horizon. And then as it goes farther beyond that, things should start dropping farther and farther. At 10 miles, there should be 66 feet of curvature. At 100 miles, there should be 6,000 plus feet of curvature. That's over a mile. Okay. But then we started getting testimony from, Navy captains and gunnery people saying that they could take a pencil-thin laser beam and light up another ship over 100 miles away. Well, there should be a hump of water, 6,600 feet between them. Same thing with submarines. Submarines down at the bottom of the ocean can send out sonar that hit solid things and bounce back. They're seeing other submarines over 100 miles away. There should be a mountain over a mile tall between them, but there's not. So sonar doesn't go up and over a hump.
Gotcha. And so you have those as proofs of flat Earth. What other proofs do you have that indicate to you that we're living? Are you saying the flat Earth, that all of the Earth is above and flat and there's no bottom part? So like under the spherical model, Australia and Southern Africa are underneath, right? So, right. And your version of flat Earth, are those southern continents, are they on the bottom of the flat Earth? Or everything is up above one plane? Is that correct?
Yes. So this is, and by the way, anything I say to you, I was right where you were. I had the same beliefs, the same understanding. The flat Earth is not a disc in space. They want you to believe that we think there's a two-sided disc in space with other round planets or even other flat planets. No flat earther believes any of that. That entire space floating module thing is ridiculous. Okay, nobody believes that. Think about this. I'm going to draw a little picture in your mind. A
Okay,
puddle.
dude.
What is a puddle? Where does a puddle accumulate? You're laughing
I don't
heavy,
know.
man.
And the water. I
What's that? What are you laughing at?
just this picture of the Earth, like everything is spherical,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
the
Well,
Earth
that's not
is
a picture. This is what they want you to
okay.
believe. Flat Earth
Okay,
is.
so that's fake. Okay, so
Okay.
what's the differentiation then? What's your real version? It's not this fake version of the flat Earth. There's another version. Is that
When you
correct?
Google
Like not
flat Earth, you end up at the Flat Earth Society. You end up with images like the one I'm showing you, which is a pancake floating in space. No flat
right.
Earth believes that. So
Okay, I didn't know that because that's the what I believe that the flat Earth philosophy is.
that's what I'm trying to explain to you,
So
that it's
okay,
not.
okay,
And I'm going
please
to
explain
explain
it.
to you
I'm
what
sorry.
it is.
Okay,
So, belief is easy. Belief takes 1 second. I believe it. I'm done.
okay, right,
Take a nap. Knowing takes time and effort and critical thought. So,
right.
so
It's
a
about
puddle.
I think that this discussion's about epistemology. Why do you believe what you believe, and why do I believe what I believe? Right?
Well, we're going to get into that because at
Okay,
the
good,
end, I'm going to ask you why you believe the Earth is a globe, and then you can give me your answer at the end.
good. Okay,
Um,
perfect.
so water after a rainstorm, you get puddles, and puddles accumulate where? In the low spot in the land, right?
Right,
And the edge of the puddle is just where the land is higher than the water surface.
right. Based
Okay.
upon gravity, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, no,
Or
no.
force, some
We'll,
kind
we'll
of
get
force.
into
Some
that.
force brings it down
We'll,
from the
we'll,
sky,
we'll,
right?
we'll absolutely
Right.
get into that.
Okay.
So think of a pond as the same thing as a puddle. A lake is just a bigger pond. So a lake is the low spot in the land. The water accumulates in the lake, and the shoreline of the lake is just where the land is higher than the lake all the way around, right?
Okay.
Large bodies of water at rest lay flat. That's a fact, scientifically,
Right.
provably, testably flat.
Right.
Okay. So if you were on a boat rowing around in a lake and you got to the edge of the lake, can you fall off the lake? No, you just step off onto the land.
Right.
Right. So think of the world oceans as a giant lake, and all of the islands, the continents, they're all surrounded by water,
Right.
but all of the water is contained because it's surrounded by land. Right. That land is not, is Antarctica. Antarctica is not an island at the bottom of a spinning ball. Antarctica is the shoreline of the world pond.
Right. Okay.
Antarctica is likely bigger than all of the continents and all of the oceans combined. Antarctica we live in the Antarctic basin.
Right.
Okay. So when you get, today's optics and zoom out across water, we can see things farther than we should. You're laughing.
Right. But so you're saying that we're on a flat Earth with a huge thing of Earth around, and then outside of that is space. So you would have to go.
I'm not saying that at all. There is no space. Space doesn't exist. Here's the best way I can describe it is the Earth is the basement of the universe. Okay. It's the ground floor. Nobody knows what's below the Earth, right? The deepest hole ever dug, whether the Earth is flat or round, the deepest hole ever dug is about 7.5 miles, right? They dug down and they used ground penetrating radar, and every step of the way they were wrong. The ground penetrating radar predicted nothing. Okay. You might be able to see a rock a couple feet down, but it couldn't do anything more than that. Then they hit an impenetrable barrier, right? They could, no matter what they did for years, they could not blow it, go drill through it. So an analogy would be drilling through halfway through the skin of an apple, right? Okay. While doing that, you were wrong every step of the way, but somehow they know what the next 4,000 miles is, and they tell you there's a molten magnetic core. Absolutely not. That's all pseudoscience. That's all speculation.
Okay. Okay. Well, continue proving flat Earth to me, because I definitely have some questions.
Yeah. So what people don't realize is we're moving in more than 4 directions at once. We're spinning. Where is it? We're spinning at 1,000 miles an hour at the equator. So if you believe that we live on a spinning globe, you have to believe that at the equator, you're not at the equator. You're sitting, you're watching the sunset. You have to believe that you're falling over backwards faster than the speed of sound, and that's making the sun appear to set. While that's going on, you're orbiting the sun at 66,600 miles an hour. You're chasing the sun at over 500,000 miles per hour. And that entire system is moving sideways at 1 to 2 million miles per hour. So we're moving trillions of miles a year, but somehow, we have lakes that are perfect glass. They don't have a ripple in them. We have stars that reset every year to the exact same position. Like if you go out tonight and look at the stars, and mark where they are at 10 o'clock, midnight, whatever, next year, same time, same day, they'll be in the exact same position. Even though we've traveled billions and billions of miles in 4 different directions, somehow all of those stars mirrored our movements. That's insane, right? Have you heard of the Georgia Guidestones?
Yes, of course.
So the Georgia Guidestones, besides the controversy of what's on them, in the center stone, there's a long, thin hole about 1/4 of an inch thick. And when you look through that long hole, for the last 40 years since it's been up, Polaris, the North Star, is right through that hole. It's never moved. How is that possible when we're corkscrewing through this galaxy, traveling trillions and trillions of miles, but the North Star never moves from that hole? Do a time lapse, all the stars circle around it. This alone proves that the Earth does not move anywhere at all, not even continental drift, which is another lie. There's also another slit in those stones that go in at 2 different angles. And if you look across that slit through the stone, one is the winter solstice and the other one is the summer solstice.
Right.
It's a calendar and a clock.
Right. It's a calendar and a clock, but to you, it indicates that the Earth is flat, correct?
Well, no, it indicates that the Earth is not moving. That's
not
for
moving.
Sure.
Gotcha. Okay. So
and
there's no rotation.
All of the luminaries in the sky circle around us. Here's another thing that shows you that there's something wrong with the globe model. If you wanted to go from Santiago, Chile to Australia, because as you had said earlier, they're on the bottom of the ball, the quickest shot would be right across Antarctica or around the outside of Antarctica. That is the quickest path, but that's not the path that flights take. When a flight wants to go from Santiago to Australia, it goes all the way up across the equator, the north, across America, and down. That's to the east coast. If they want to go to the west coast of Australia, it goes all the way up to like New York or Chicago, goes all the way over to Europe and Dubai and down. And that's kind of weird. But if you look at it on the flat Earth map, it's a straight line. You go straight up across America, Europe, Dubai, and Western Australia. It's a straight line. And so the thing is, airplane routes prove that the Earth is flat.
Okay. Well, okay. Please continue.
Yeah. So I'm trying to find another image. So what happens is NASA is in charge of all long distance routes, all of them, right? NASA is a big deceiver in this entire thing. So sometimes there's emergencies that happen on an airplane. The airplane has to land, right? So like a trip from Thailand to California cuts right across the Pacific, right by Hawaii, and then over. And that's what they show the passengers where they're going. And that's what if you track it, that's where it says it's going. But right near Hawaii, somebody had a heart attack or was having a baby or something, and they had to land. They should have landed in Hawaii because they were right over Hawaii. They could have gone to California, but instead they went way out of their way to Alaska. And the reason they did that is because if you look at on a flat Earth map, Taiwan, emergency, Alaska, it's right in line, and it's a straight line.
Okay.
So there's a book that you can get for free online called 16 Emergency Landings Prove Flat Earth. Every single one of these landings make 0 sense on a globe, but make perfect sense on a flat Earth. How many coincidences do you need to understand that something's wrong with the ball?
A lot more than that. But continue. Keep making your proofs. Keep stating your proofs.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, think about this. If you understand how the heliocentric model works, when it's let's say June, whatever, it doesn't matter what, you're looking up at the stars at midnight, you're on the side of the Earth, you're looking up away from the sun because the sun's on the other side, and you see a whole bunch of stars. And then 6 months later, you went from one side of the sun to the other, 180 million miles. 186 million miles. And at midnight, you're looking in the opposite direction. And and you can see the same stars. That's impossible in a heliocentric system. That's like saying you're looking forward in your room right now. I see you, and you see me, whatever, and I'm the star. But 6 months later, you're looking at that painting behind you, and you still see me. Makes no sense. Yeah, makes no sense. If you look at, there's so many things. Like people say, well, we've known for 2,000 years. Aristophanes figured it was sticks and shadows.
Pythagoras, right. There you go. So you have the shadows, etc.
So
they knew the
Aristophanes is in Said, and the sun is directly above him. He could tell because you could see it in the bottom of a well, and he's got a stick and there's no shadow. And his buddy 500 miles away has another stick that's straight up and down, and there's a big shadow. And he could do some perfectly good math and show that, the sphericity of the ball. And that's math that describes, what he wants it to describe. But on a flat Earth model, the sun is small and close, and he could be standing under this one stick where the sun is above him. His buddy 500 miles away gets the same angles. You can do the same math and figure out the sphericity of this flat plane. And the reason Aristophanes is supposed to think he's right is because he says that sun rays, the sun's so far away, the sun rays come in straight. They come in parallel. Nobody has ever seen parallel rays come in. You look up at the sun on a scattered cloud day, and they come in splayed. They come in showing that the sun is local. The sun is close. And the other thing about Aristophanes is, first, how did he reach his buddy? Did they have a long cup and a string? Is that how they talk to each other? But even besides that, it doesn't prove anything because, as I just showed you, it could be you get the same results on the flat Earth model. So the question is, well, where did the story come from? Well, the oldest book that has that in, he's the most famous guy, figured out the shape of the Earth, famous mathematician. The oldest book that has that story in it is from the mid 1900s when it was inserted into curriculums, into textbooks. It's a fake made up story that
so it's supposedly those stories, because I think Pythagoras also figured it out that there was his calculations. I have to go back and find it, but
you have to believe that's a story. I mean, my answer is, I say, cool story, bro, because there's no proof of any of that. Copernicus didn't even have a telescope. I mean, the stuff that they tell us, these are all stories. Anything before the 1900s is complete nonsense. I interviewed a woman, 102 years old, in February of 2020 about the World's Fairs, because she had been to the World's Fairs and remembered them in detail. And she had such a good memory. I asked her about what they taught her in elementary school. And she said they taught her that the Earth was flat. I'd never mentioned flat Earth to her. And she said, but years later, they changed that. That was in the 1920s, the mid 1920s here in Connecticut public schools. They were teaching flat Earth. So we're like, all right, there has to be some record of this. And we looked on microfilm, which is harder and harder to find now. And we found in the New York Journal and other papers stories about teachers that were trying to teach heliocentrism in the early 1900s and were being persecuted and threatened with jail in Europe, in America, for trying to teach the satanic heliocentric system.
So the heliocentric system is satanic.
Well, yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Well, I'm just saying, like, do you think why would people want to foist, or why would there be a concerted effort by groups to avoid people knowing about the so-called flat Earth?
Yeah, so the thing is, the people that are running this world are pretty evil, and they want you to believe that you're spinning out of control, that you evolved from pond scum, and then a monkey, turned into a human. They want you to think that you're insignificant, that you have no meaning, that we could be taken out by an asteroid at any moment. We're running out of food, global warming. We're running out of dinosaur juice, which is ridiculous. Oil, fossil fuels. It's all made up nonsense. It's all about control.
So flat Earth truth is seen you perceive it within kind of conspiratorial elites, not telling the truth to the people. Is that correct?
Do you think what's going on in the world right now is very truthful?
No, it's just a blizzard of lies. But
Yeah. So
whether
this is
the
how
flat Earth is part of that is another issue.
well, this is how they keep us in control. If they put a fence around us, right? If I put a fence around the United States, you wouldn't be happy. If I said you can never go south of the equator, you wouldn't be happy. No matter where you put a fence, humans aren't going to be happy. So they put us in a prison for our mind, and that prison is the globe. What if they're hiding more land? Right? We live here. Antarctica is a ring that's around us, and then in the outer space beyond Antarctica, there's extra territory, extra terra, right? And maybe there's other people that live out here. And there's plenty of stories of people with advanced technology that left here in the 1600s,
right, like Atlantis and whatever, Lemuria, all these.
That and other things. There's other stories about tyranny that happened in the 1600s where people left and they didn't want to live under tyranny. Well, the people that are running this world, they need us. They need us to build their things. They need our imagination. They need our manifestation ability, because I believe they lost theirs. So they don't want us defecting and leaving. So they made it so we're trapped on a ball. That is, they're hiding more land. They're hiding the fact that this place is intelligently designed. And if you unwrap that, that means there's a designer, a creator. They don't want you in a position where you can realize your importance and your power.
Okay. So is that all the proofs that you show to say that the Earth is flat? Do you have anything else you want to add to that?
Well, I mean, there's tons. I mean, you start looking at what NASA's doing. You start thinking about what satellites are. We're hurling and twirling and corkscrewing in 4 different directions, but we have geostationary satellites that can stay above the same point of land when it's mirroring, 4 different motions. That's all just poppycock nonsense. Then we start looking at NASA and we see that they're faking everything in space. They're playing with a lemon, and it bounced off the wall, and the guy, the CGI, didn't let him grab it properly. It's called augmented reality. And you can see that they're faking things floating in space. So why are they faking no gravity on the space station? Why are they using augmented reality where they'll look for something and all of a sudden it'll appear, and then they're manipulating not real objects in space? Why, like during a press conference, will they there's sometimes CGI glitches and they completely just glitch out anything that's floating? I mean, there's so many things that we catch them doing, but that can't be explained. I mean, sometimes they have a guy float by in the background, and if you zoom in, you can see the wires in the harness. Why would they be hanging from wires in a harness in the space station if there's no gravity? We catch them on zero-G planes doing stuff. I mean, think about the space station. It appeared out of nowhere. There's not a single video of it being built. They never assembled it on Earth. They just built it. Different countries built different parts, sent them to space, and they put it together for the first time. Talk to any engineer. That makes zero sense. There's not a single photo or video of it being built. It just appeared. Okay.
So I mean, if you look at it in a non-space agency, do you believe that SpaceX is also engaged in covering up the truth of a flat Earth?
Oh, 100%. All space agencies are in it together. If you look at their logos, they're all the same logos. But when SpaceX launches stuff, they do different. SpaceX, NASA, it's the same thing. The reason that SpaceX is doing it now is because it's not a government run, and you can't use a FOIA request to get information.
It's really quasi-governmental, actually.
Yeah, right. But NASA, I mean, it's all part of the same thing. It's all just a deception. They do different techniques. Sometimes the thing that you see going up is a helium balloon. NASA is the largest consumer of helium and owns all the big helium companies in the world. And sometimes they're using a projected hologram in air, and then there's a glitch, and part of the rocket will just disappear. Okay. It happens all the time. And then we've caught them with their holographic projectors on the lawn at NASA. Okay. There's so many errors that they make It's unbelievable. Have you watched one of the recent rocket landings that SpaceX is doing?
Some, yeah, some, but they
Yeah,
look like they're CGI. They're almost perfect. It's incredible, really.
they're
If that's real.
CGI. I mean, you can't have a single. Imagine dropping a car off the Empire State Building. That little bit of rocket is stopping a car from going down. That thing is going to hit the ground
Well,
and
that was their
smash.
big, but that was SpaceX's big selling point, is that reusable rockets were saving
Yeah,
money and time.
but where's the stabilizers? How are these things landing
That's a good
on
question.
barges in 20 knots of wind with 10-foot rolling waves? I mean,
Well, almost like the reverse engineered rocketry, really, because the same thing happens when they're pushing this big pipe up into the sky as when they're
you know
bringing it
that
back down.
every single time the rocket lands on the drone ship where there's no people, the camera cuts out just before it lands and then it comes back. And they say it's because of the vibrations, but the camera that's on the rocket in space never glitches out. But every single time when it lands, the camera glitches out and it goes to black. Every single time.
So were these arguments made to you when you became kind of a person who believes in the flat earth? And then did you join up with other flat earthers? And
No.
is there groups
No, we
communities?
we researched together. There was a rocket that was launched in Arizona. In Arizona, it was called the Go Fast rocket. It goes straight up, unlike NASA and SpaceX, which curve out and go crash in the Bermuda Triangle. It went straight up with an uninterrupted feed, which NASA never gives you. Watch any launch of either SpaceX or NASA, and there's 7 cuts within the first 10 seconds. Okay, like a movie. But this thing went up, it hit something, it went kerplunk, it stopped spinning, and then this is over Arizona, and when it turned on its side, all of a sudden it could see the moon, right? So we looked, where was the moon? The moon was over New Zealand at that time. So if that rocket was on the top of a basketball, it's a 1/4 of a millimeter over the basketball, and the moon is underneath the basketball. How did the camera see the moon? The only answer is that the earth is flat.
I don't know about that. Yeah, what else is that all you got, or what else?
Listen, I can go on and on and on. I mean,
well, at a certain point, like, I want to give my countervailing.
Yeah, absolutely. Some people say photos of space. Well, which photo? I'm showing you 2 photos. One of them, America is 4 times the size as America on the other one.
Right. Well, that's a differentiating. That's assuming that the camera is at the same point in space, right?
Well, look at the balls are the same size, so how could that be? But that's the argument. People say, optics and lenses and all sorts of stuff. But there's another way to look at it. So the one that showed up on everyone's iPhone was called the blue marble, and everybody thought it was a real picture of Earth. But Robert Simmons, a NASA visual artist, the guy who made it, said he made it in Photoshop, and he explained exactly how he made it. And when you look at it, there's Photoshop clouds, stepped and repeated, didn't even bother putting in new clouds. But if you go back and you look at the one that came out, I think 10 years later, that has the giant USA on it, and you look and say, okay, how can we verify this? Well, we can look and we could drive across Mexico and go across Baja Bay and Baja, and we could realize that width that I segmented there is 934 miles. NASA tells us the diameter of the Earth is 7,917 miles. So I should be able to fit 8.5 of those segments in between these 2 lines, and I could barely fit 3, right? 8.5 goes right off the page. So the image I'm showing you is another painting. There are no photos of space.
So there's no photos of space from anything, not just NASA, but from the Chinese Space Agency that's very active.
Oh, no. We have actually video of the moonrise from the Japanese moon mission, if I could find that. But if you look, we cruised by Pluto, and there happens to be a desert shaped like the dog Pluto. I mean, they're mocking us so many different ways. It's ridiculous. But if you look at if you go back and look at any old NASA footage, it doesn't hold up. I'm trying to find an image for you. Where'd it go? Where was I going? If you look at the moon lander, the orbiter, here you go. So we have there's I think you can still find it on YouTube. It's called the Earthrise. This is the Earth rising from behind the moon. Now, anybody that can watch this and think that this is real is just delusional, right?
Well, there's no stars there. There should be just tons of stars, especially.
Well, forget the stars. Let's say aperture, but look at the Earth. Look at the horizon. The horizon, what is that? 20 feet away? I mean, the Earth, it's complete.
Well, that's assuming that picture's legit. I mean,
no, this is from the Japanese Space Agency, right? Of course, it's not legit, right? But people are so easily fooled. I mean, if you go look at the lunar lander when it was going back to land with the orbiter, it's like South Park has better animation. I mean, there's two grown men with diapers in there. There was two men in there and a car. There was a car in there too, but they left that
supposedly.
Right. When you look at this stuff, it is undeniable. And then you have to ask yourself why. Why would they do that? When you look at stars are nothing like what they tell us. I mean, we can scientifically prove that you couldn't see a star because of the distance and size. It makes no sense.
Yeah, there's a real problem. So what else you got? Anything else before I start asking you questions?
Yeah, no, you ask questions. I like questions.
Okay, go. Well, I mean, here's the thing. So somebody who's you showed a picture of, South America or Australia. Why are they seeing a different set of stars?
Oh, absolutely. I will explain.
Why is the Southern Cross there and you had the what is it? Yeah. The Polaris or the Pole Star? Why is that only seen from northern hemisphere?
Can you enable screen sharing so I can show you something and describe it? So how it works is this Earth is stationary, and how
do I?
If you go where it says screen sharing, there's a little up arrow and say allow multiple participants to screen share on the bottom. On the very bottom, where all those big icons are, it says
share sound, share
screen share
files.
Maybe you have to widen your window of it. It could be hidden. It's next to chat, participants chat, screen.
No, it's there. I just don't see anything that allows you to share.
Is there a little
multiple? There you go. You're good to go. I got it.
Okay. So I created an app called the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app to answer questions exactly like this. So we're looking down on the Earth pond, and if you look where South America is, it's on one end of the pond, and on the opposite end of the pond is Australia. So the way the stars work, what's that?
Right, on a ostensibly flat Earth. Right.
Yeah, on a flat Earth. So if we look where the sun is approaching Australia. So what we're looking right now in this image I'm showing you, Pisces is over Australia, but you can't see the stars because it's daytime in Australia. But at nighttime right now we have I don't know, whatever constellation this is. So if you're in South America and you're looking up, you're seeing these stars.
Right.
Then 12 hours later, when it's nighttime in Australia, those stars have rotated around to Australia. When they look up, they see the same stars 12 hours later, because the stars and the sun go around once every 24 hours. The stars are going slightly faster. That's why they change during the year. But the sun is in each constellation for a month. Right now, this next constellation will catch up to the sun, and it'll be in there for a month. And so that's how you see stars. The Southern Cross.
The different stars, right? Like the Southern Cross was a navigational tool, and the North Pole is a navigational tool, right? Well, along with the other constellations going back all the way to beginning of history.
So let's say it's midnight, and you're in Santiago, Chile. You see the Southern Cross. 12 hours later, when it's noon, can you see the Southern Cross? Of course not, right? But 12 hours later, the Southern Cross has rotated all the way over to Australia, and it's midnight in Australia. Now they're looking at the Southern Cross.
Okay, so under your flat Earth model, how do you explain people visually seeing the sun rise and set? And then how do you explain this variance of different times during the day? There's sun on certain parts of the day. It doesn't comport. It just doesn't.
Yeah, well, it actually
contradicts
itself.
I'll
explain one question at a time. Yeah. So one question at a time. So the sun circles around the flat Earth. It's small and it's close, and then it sets due to perspective. So as the sun's going away, it looks like it's dropping down, but it's just perspective. And the clouds just at 20, 30 miles away merge with the horizon, and the sun just goes beyond them and sets. The sunlight cannot push through as far as you think. I put my drone up. I've done this 7 times already on a super clear day. Has to be around freezing outside, like 32 degrees, no humidity. And I'll watch the sun go down, 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 down. And if the earth was spinning, it would just keep on going, but it doesn't. This is like the last, 20 minutes of the day. It goes down, 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 and then it stops. It stops going down. Now, this isn't about the size of the sun. This is about the direction of the sun. And then the sun never drops down, and it just fades away into the soup. Now, here in the north, we can have a sunset. It's going to go again. We can have a sunset, and it's still light for another 90 minutes. But in the south, at certain times of the year when the sun is in the outer tropics, dark, sunset, 5 minutes later, it's pitch black because the sun is moving away faster than it does in the north. And let me show you how that happens. So the sun goes around and it laps the moon once every 28 days. All right. So the position of the moon keeps track of the weeks and the months. There used to be 13 months of 28 days, but that's another story. And then I showed you the stars spin around and they lap the sun once a year. So if we look at where the sun is, there's 3 circles on this. The outer circle is the Tropic of Capricorn. The inner yellow circle is the Tropic of Cancer, and the red line is the equator. Well, right now, for those of you that I'll describe for those of you just listening, the sun is just in between the Tropic of Cancer and the equator. It's inside. If I jump the sun forward to June, it's over the Tropic of Cancer. And that's when we, the inner northern countries, have our summer. Because when the sun comes around, look where Miami is. The sun goes right over Miami. That's why it's so hot in June, right? But look how far away it is from Australia. You with me?
Yeah, I'm following. I'm just trying to look something up.
Yeah. So 6 months later, the sun moves out to the Tropic of Capricorn, and then the outer southern lands have their summer, and it goes right over Australia. They're having their summer while we're having our winter because the sun is higher in the sky, closer to them, and farther away from us. And it's so far away from Alaska, it never rises.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's how seasons work, because they tell us it's a little tilt of the ball. That's ridiculous because it would be freezing cold at sunrise every day of the year, especially in June. It would be freezing cold at sunrise because in the heliocentric model, the sun is 3.5 million miles farther away from us in the summer. So sunrise in the summer, when the earth is at its most severe tilt, it would be freezing in the morning. But where are you located?
Los Angeles.
Okay, well, it's probably pretty warm here. I'm in Connecticut. We have cold winters and hot summers. And in June, when the sun appears on the ocean, I can feel the heat on my face immediately. And that is the most severe angle the sun could ever be over a ball. And I could feel the heat on my face immediately. In December, solar noon, when it's at its highest point for that day, the sun is coming down at like a 50 to 55 degree angle. I can't even feel the heat on my face. How is that possible? That completely debunks seasons in the helio-nonsensical model. It's interesting, isn't it?
No, not really. I mean, I think a lot of your insights, the facts that you have are skewed, and they don't take into account a lot of other things. I don't believe that the Earth, in the whole of the universe, and all of the billions and billions of galaxies, and all of the planets. Okay, but that's it. So all of that outside stuff is all fake facts. Is that what you're saying? So
there's
Hubble telescope and looking out at
everything that NASA tells you is unconfirmed. The things that I'm showing you, you can confirm.
Okay. Right, but some of these things aren't even from NASA. Like they can take pictures, and they have telescopes from here that can. I mean, Hubble is obviously clear because it doesn't have to go through
Hubble. Let's talk about Hubble.
Okay, good.
So on Earth here, they have these big telescopes, and they're built on cement pads that are like 10 feet thick and huge because you can't have the vibration of a person's foot walking by or it'll ruin the deep space shot that it gets. You okay? Look that up.
Yeah,
this is what
right.
Nova and all the science shows tell us, right? The vibration of somebody walking by this telescope will ruin the image. Are they forgetting that the Earth is spinning at 1,000 miles an hour, orbiting and moving in 4 different directions at speeds incomprehensible? And then if you add the one of the Hubble, it's also falling around the Earth at 17,500 miles an hour. How is it possibly taking a picture of anything? And it's 3,000 degrees at that height. They tell us. I don't believe it. 3,000 degrees. What metal, what mirror can operate at 3,000 degrees? The Hubble is a joke. There are no satellites. Satellites are balloons. NASA has the largest Satelloon program. It's not even a secret. They just don't advertise it, where they launch balloons. There's tens of thousands of these things.
That's baloney. That's total baloney.
This is NASA.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying that.
Wait a minute. How is that baloney?
People all over these different countries are sending up satellites to geosynchronous orbit.
No,
above that,
not.
you think that those are all fake and all those things?
Okay.
Come on, man.
Find me one photo of a satellite in space. One.
Okay. Let's see. Let's go. Let's check Google.
One photo of satellite in space. If you can share your screen, that'd be nice.
Well, here's something I'll share with you. Here we go. Let's go. This is like if you want to go back. I'm showing you a
video of NASA launching a Satelloon, and you're telling me it's not real.
I think that may be one specific one, but there's definitely other rockets sending out satellites, and I've seen the satellites being made. I lived close to where SpaceX
satellites
is.
Are being made. People make satellites and send them to NASA. They're just not going up in rockets.
Okay, well, some of the satellites. One thing that doesn't fit into your kind of worldview is that some of these satellites are being sent up by private corporations. They're not NASA.
No, they're
and
not.
They're being sent. Okay, no, that's not true, because if SpaceX is definitely taking satellites from the Earth somewhere else that's up above us.
Do you have proof of that?
Yeah, 100%.
Show me.
Okay, so let's go and look at this. This is your flight path from Chile to Santiago.
But nobody ever takes that path. That's never been done. We actually did a live stream.
Well, I don't agree with you.
I know, and guess what? I didn't agree with me either. Okay. But we ended up doing a live stream when Max Egan took a plane from Santiago to Australia. It showed them that path that you're showing me right there. And when he did his compass readings in the plane, it made no sense. He wasn't going in that direction.
Does Max Egan believe in the flat Earth?
No.
Okay. Let's go look at all these flying with satellite.
What you're
are these all fake?
What you're looking at is
this is a 12-hour
information from NASA. You're looking at information from NASA.
So you're saying that NASA is
let me just finish my sentence, William.
Okay,
let me just finish the sentence. The Max saw on his screen, this was that path that you're showing me is the path he was taking, but all of his compass readings didn't match it. But then we looked at the path on the flat Earth and we checked the compass readings and they matched what he charted perfectly. Again, it matched.
So that's one example, but these corporations that are flying corporations have flight paths from Santiago.
No, they don't. They're all run by NASA.
Okay, so that's it. So what you're saying is that these major international corporations are being puppeteered by NASA. Is that correct?
What international corporations are
Answer that question for me. You're saying that Qantas, for example, which I'm showing on my screen, is being puppeteered right now by NASA. Is that correct?
Absolutely. I'll tell you why. Okay. We've spoken to Qantas pilots. They all know the Earth is flat. They talk about it amongst themselves, but they're not allowed to talk about it publicly. We interviewed a KLM pilot who was showing us proof that the Earth is flat and doesn't spin, and she was fired the next day. Yeah. We have testimony from pilots. Most pilots know. Go ask a pilot. Go ask a pilot off the record. They'll tell you. Now, a small pilot, a Cessna pilot, they might not know.
I don't believe that either. I bet I could find every pilot say that we're traveling on an ellipse over a globe to shorten the time. Like if you fly from North America to Europe, it's not a straight flight. You fly over Canada. You fly actually over close to Greenland through Iceland. Close to Iceland, actually, because in the global model, which you don't believe in, that's how you would shorten the distance, as you would fly in an ellipse pattern, right? So are those flight paths fake too? Because I think that you're I think you truly believe the Earth is flat, but I think you're cherry picking
Well,
facts
see,
to
when you look at
bolster
northern
your
flights,
conclusion.
northern flights are very similar on a flat Earth and a globe Earth. If you look at the maps, they're very similar. It's the southern flights, it's the distant southern flights that make zero sense on a flat Earth. I mean, on a globe Earth,
Okay.
they make no sense whatsoever.
Okay.
And
Well, here's let's just get off of that. Let's just say we choose to disagree.
okay,
Where's the evidence of all the billions of people on Earth that there's an ice edge somewhere on the Earth, and all the people, Magellan and Cook and all these people who are traveling around at the very beginning,
yeah.
going around the so-called.
So Captain Cook, very good. You've studied. Captain
Well,
Cook
I
was
just
the last.
study everything. I mean, it just doesn't fit in that these guys. Oh, and then we came upon.
William, you have to let
an
me
ice shelf.
respond to
Okay,
you're throwing out too many questions.
Well, you don't talk over me. So I'm asking a question, then you respond.
Okay.
Go.
So Captain Cook tried to circumnavigate Antarctica, which should be about 13,000 miles. Unfortunately, it took him 3.5 years, and he went over 60,000 miles. And here's the path that he took, right? He went over 60,000 miles. The equator is 24,000 miles, right? Well, that makes perfect sense on a flat Earth. That's the route that he took, right? He tried it 3 times, and each time it was over 60,000 miles. So there you go. So the question is, people say, where's the ice wall? Show me a picture, as Bill Nye, who trained everybody to say, show me a picture of the ice wall. Well, there's a trillion pictures of the ice wall. There's a video of the ice wall. The ice wall is the shoreline of Antarctica. It's just where the sun's heat can't get out any farther. And there's Antarctica. It goes on and on and on all the way around.
Okay, so the guy who supposedly just took the trip across Antarctica solo, that's run by NASA too, or that's fake?
Colin O'Brady, you're talking about, and that was a couple of years ago. And if you actually look at his story, which makes absolutely no sense, and the things that he said are just physically impossible. But if you even look at,
so he's lying too.
Well,
so
I'm going to show you how he's
NASA.
lying. I'm going to show you how he's lying. He went from Santiago, and then he just kind of went over here a little bit, and then he turned around and came back. He never went across. Nobody ever goes across, right?
Well, that's what I'm saying, because he's claiming that he went across using, geosynchronous things. I think he had some kind of what's the thing they used to use in the boats to determine their space? Yeah, sextant. I think he had a sextant. He got across.
If you look at his story, we have videos about Antarctica on the app that'll show you that what he's saying is not true. See, tell me this. Somebody wanted to say, all right, we're going to prove the Earth is a globe. We're going to circumnavigate south, right? So check this out. North-south circumnavigation. Check this out where they went. They went from the North Pole to Alaska to California, over to Hawaii, down to the Philippines, or wherever these are, none of these islands. Then they went to Santiago. Then check this out. They went to Antarctica, and then they turned around and came back up through Brazil, USA, and back around. And they said, oh, we had to turn around at the South Pole because the weather was too bad. But we're like, okay, well, then he's not going to get the award. But they got the Guinness Book of World Record for southern circumnavigation. Plot that on a flat Earth map. This is what it looks like. He just went around the couple islands on the lake. That's it.
Well, that's not what he's claiming. That map.
No, this is what they're claiming. This is what they're claiming. And he got the world's record for circumnavigation for doing this. Circumnavigation.
You saying that O'Grady, his journey that's the actual real journey.
This is no Brady. This is ZQ Pilot. This is the guy that was going to fly. But Brady just skimmed across the edge and then came back out. He never went across and popped up on the other side of the world because that's impossible.
Okay. So
again, a lot of information on my app under Antarctica. All of it is documented for you to see and verify yourself.
So the reason why that there's a central part of your flat Earth that is full of snow is because the sun is not hitting its right. The sun provides heat to the world. Would you agree with that?
It's local. It's like a local light. Absolutely. Okay. The closer it is, the warmer it is.
So on your thing, you have a flat Earth.
Right.
You have a sun above it, but the sun rays are only shooting down in a core. They don't expand from another globe. Do you think the sun is a globe?
So no,
I think the sun is a globe.
The sun is
the
not
sun
even
isn't a globe.
No.
Okay.
It's not. I don't think it's a physical object, and we all see it in a position relative to our own, more like a reflection through the dome. But again, anything above our heads, we don't know. You don't know. I don't know. NASA doesn't even know. We have a
Well,
whistleblower from
I think we know
NASA.
a lot. Actually, I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true at
Well,
all.
how far is the sun?
93 million miles.
How do you know that?
People have judged it. They've looked at it based upon
Okay,
how it moves,
I'll tell you.
its
I'll tell you.
size.
So you're trusting that other people have figured it out, but this is how they
Correct.
figured it out. This is. Let me tell you how they figured it out. One day there was a Venus transited the sun, and Venus is about the same size as Earth. And someone on the East Coast and someone on the West Coast watched it, and it started and stopped at different times. They did some perfectly good math, just like Aristophanes, and they figured out how far the sun was. The only problem with that equation is they assumed the little dot of light they see in the sky that they call Venus is the same size as Earth. I say Venus is the size of a basketball, and you can't prove me wrong.
So there's
they're assuming Venus is. That's like
But we can see Venus in the sky, right?
You can
so
see
Venus
light
is a
in the sky. We don't know what it is.
We see a light.
Like,
so we see a basketball of light in the sky.
Well,
and NASA's lying to us about that.
Well, when we
so
look
all
at
of
Mars,
those pictures. Hold on,
when we look at Mars through super zoom telescopes now, they don't look. It doesn't look like what NASA shows us. It's a pulsating orb of energy. We don't know what it is, but it's here and it's small and it's close. It's within.
Well, that's that picture, right? So there's been other pictures of Mars that are different. Do you believe that there's a lander currently taking pictures of Mars and sending it back to the world?
Do you believe that there's a lander on Mars?
Yeah, I do.
With a helicopter. So besides what I'm about to show you, I want to know why you believe there's a lander on Mars.
Because people send stuff there, they're curious about it, and they're getting information from it, and they sent a lunar, forgot the name of it, but they're sending pictures back, yeah.
They sent one just the other day. Right. Did you watch any of the footage of the helicopter flying around?
No, I didn't. Do you have that footage?
You should take a look at it. I mean,
all right, let's see it. Let's see it. Can you bring it?
It was able to look down and get a picture of its shadow with the perfect blades. Here, I'm showing you right now the only proof that we landed something on Mars. Okay. This is the only proof right here. You got to watch it. So this is that's
the proof. Okay, but so all of these pictures are fake. Whatever this.
Are these pictures fake?
That's not a real picture. That's
all right. Well, this is what NASA showed us.
No, but I'm looking at totally different pictures here.
What are you looking at?
That's good.
That's the thing. Like,
all these pictures from these variants things are fake. This looks like a legit picture.
I don't see the picture yet.
Okay, well, let's see. I'm not doing it right. Stop share screen. Can you see this browser window? Is that up?
Yeah.
So these are all fake. That looks CGI.
Those are real pictures. They're taken in Greenland.
Okay, so this is Greenland.
So let me show you a real picture from NASA. This is from their website. This is from their website, taken from the original rover, which is also impossible, right? You can see the rover got a little selfie, but this is the picture in Greenland. This is from NASA's website. This is a picture of the exact same hill with the same rocks and tufts of grass in Greenland. Okay? This is Devon Island. This is Mars. This is Devon Island. This is Mars. I mean, you are just believing because you want to believe. Because
I don't really want to believe. I mean, I just think all the evidence for flat Earth is bunk. It just doesn't fit into what we're seeing in real time.
You haven't showed me any evidence yet. You showed me some pictures. Well, I'm showing you a picture from NASA and a picture from Greenland. This proves that that NASA's lying.
Right. Somebody could easily reverse engineer that and say,
so somebody could reverse engineer. Wait, hold on. Somebody could reverse engineer this and turn it into Greenland. Is that what you're saying?
No, somebody could take Greenland and turn it in, then put a filter on it and call it Mars.
Yeah, NASA did it because this is from NASA's website.
Okay, all right. So
this is from NASA's website. Think about that.
Okay, so explain to me. So the planets are literal like mini basketballs.
Well, they used to be called wandering stars until they changed them recently to planets. They used to be called wandering stars. All of the ancients knew it. Every civilization before us, every culture had a flat earth cosmology until the NASA religion came in, and then they came up with this heliocentric nonsense.
I don't think, no, that's not true too, because the
It is
Greeks, a
true.
variety of different philosophers in Greece, and even
Those are
Aristotle said the
stories.
Earth was a sphere.
I
Okay,
just showed you that Aristophanes is a made up story. And now you just want to believe all these stories from the history?
Okay, well, let's just take Aristophanes out of it. What about Pythagoras and Aristotle? Both said the Earth was a sphere. Is that correct?
You can write a novel about that.
Okay.
I mean,
is that all fake? Or is that all NASA?
Yeah, it's all NASA.
So NASA went back and wrote fake histories too to cover up the flat Earth truth?
NASA was created to hide the flat Earth and to make you think you live on a ball. There was 6 operations. One was Operation High Jump, where they discovered the ice wall, right? Then there was Operation Deep Freeze, where they discovered the firmament. Then they created NASA in 1959 to hide the firmament. Then all of a sudden, while all the countries were killing each other, they said nobody could ever go over Antarctica. No one's allowed to go there. And it's the only treaty that's held the test of time. Even though Admiral Byrd said there's more resources out there, lands bigger than America that no human has ever set foot on. Meanwhile, in all the resource wars, nobody has even questioned this treaty. You can't even question it until the year 2041. Then came Operation Fishbowl, where they were trying to blow a hole in the firmament. And there's video of that. You can see these bombs going off and the explosions hitting something. And then they created NASA, the moon missions, not NASA. NASA's already created. They had the moon missions to hide the entire thing.
Okay, so explain to me this. Here's another problem with the flat Earth model. Do you agree that on your flat, is there evidence that in the world that what we call the equator exists? Because what we can see with our own eyes is that it's hotter in this one line at the very center of what you call whatever, that the weather is distinctly different than other things, right?
Stop screen sharing so I can show you while you're talking.
Okay, good. Yeah,
stop. So in between the tropics, it's warmer because the sun migrates in between the tropics. So
the sun is rotating above us, migrating through the tropics.
The sun is the hour hand of the sky clock. It goes around once every 24 hours. Wherever the sun is, it's noon. So I'm going to jump the sun from 1 month at a time. And you can look at the top. It's January right now, February, right? And it's moving. It marches in. So when it's March, it's over the equator. April, May, June, it goes all the way into the Tropic of Cancer. We have our summer. Look, it's going to go right over Florida. It's hot. Imagine an airplane flying directly over your head. That's your summer sun. And then there's another airplane, same height, paralleling that airplane that's 50 miles to the south. That's your winter sun. It's farther away. It's lower in the sky from your point of view. But if I move the sun 6 months later, it goes out to the Tropic of Capricorn, and Australia has its summer, and we have our winter because it's farther away. Australia is having its summer because the sun is directly over Australia. We're having our winter because
So you have a sun directly over a place. Why? How does it rise and set if it's directly over Australia and it's summer? Wouldn't you just come out and say 24 hours a day the sun would be directly over me?
Right.
Well, how do you explain the motion of the sun moving across the sky?
That's a very good question, and I'm going to explain it. And it is because the atmosphere becomes dense. The lower you are, the thicker the atmosphere is, and it gets thinner and thinner, clearer and clearer as you get higher. So there's a ramp of opacity. So that ramp of opacity might be 150 miles down at sea level. A little higher, it's a little farther. But even though it's getting up higher, perspective brings it lower. So I'm going to show you, and I'll explain it for the people that are listening, what is going on and how the sun sets. So I created a model of how we see the sun from the Earth's surface versus how we see the sun from up in the air. So what I did here is this is a long kitchen counter, and I have a line about 2 feet above the counter that's level, and I'm dragging imagine a little light lit up sun across that line in a straight level line. On the counter, I have obstructions like a mountain, or it could be a cloud deck or whatever it is. And so now I'm going to show you the exact same thing, but from the other side, I have a camera on the table looking up. And as you see the sun going away, it looks like it's going down. It looks like it's going down. Even though we never went below that obstruction, it's setting below it. It sets below it due to perspective. I'll show you again. Now I've zoomed in even farther, how we really see it. This line looks like it's almost going straight down, but you know it's level. And now I'm going to compare that to a real sunset. This is going away. The sun, this is a real sunset going away. There's the horizon, but the sun is setting beyond the atmospheric deck of opacity. Okay. It's the exact same thing that I modeled. And that's why the sun goes away. I showed you that sun fade out video earlier. And that shows you that the sun's light can't even push through at certain distances on super clear days. Up in Africa, in the high plains of Africa, when there's a super clear day, the sun doesn't go down. It just goes away and it gets smaller and smaller. And as Paul McCartney said, the fool on the hill sees the sun going down, but the eyes in his head see the world spinning round.
Okay, so you're saying that the Earth is stagnant and the sun is what's moving.
Everything in the sky moves. All of the luminaries that we call stars, all of the wandering stars that we call planets.
And the sun is moving, so it's not stationary.
The moon are moving, but we all see them in a different position. Imagine you and I are 50 yards apart outside. The sun is setting behind us, but we're looking at a giant upright mirror, just a giant mirror that's mirroring everything. And we both see the sun in the mirrors. We have a third person go to the mirror with a Sharpie, and I say, I see the sun right there, and they draw a circle around the sun. Then they walk over to you, and they draw a circle 50 yards away from my circle. You're seeing the same sun, but in a different position. So how can the sun be a reflection if we feel such intense heat from it? And this is how I came to this realization one day. I was in Vegas and I'm at the pool. It's 3:30 in the afternoon. The sun is going down and it's beaming on one side of my face. It's blasting. It's like, man, that friggin' sun is hot. I'm like, I'm going to be toasted on one side of my face. Well, the hotel was about 100 yards to my left and it was a mirrored hotel and the sun lined up with one of the mirrored windows perfectly. And it was shining on the left side of my face. It looked like the same sun because it's a mirror. And I closed my eyes. I said, if I didn't know which side the sun was on, could I tell by the heat which one was the real sun? And I couldn't. It was the same heat. So the optics of the sky are no way to prove the shape of the earth or the motions of anything. Because when you look up in the sky, we're looking through moisture. I believe space is water. And when we see things through water, through a curved dome, you can't, all bets are off on what direction things are going. So,
okay. So just to get back at everything else in the universe. So that when telescopes or anybody with the home scope looks at the moon or the planets or anything like that, that's all fake. So if I went and bought a telescope from a hobby store and what I saw on the sun with flares and it looks like it's stable, what I'm seeing is fake. And what I see on Mars,
you're seeing objects in the sky, but it's small and it's close.
Okay.
NASA science admits you can't figure out how far something is unless you know how big it is.
Right. And so anything like if you see other galaxies, those aren't real. Is that correct? So
have you looked in a microscope in to the cells of a leaf? You could zoom in and see galaxies in there. You are seeing specks of light in the sky. You can make up any story you want about them.
Okay, so those aren't real, like, all the other things in the sky, stars and stuff, or any other.
Earth is all that there is. We live within the Earth system, not the solar system. Do you think the moon is spherical?
So there's no really. So in your model of the not just flat Earth, but of what supposedly is out there, there's no universe. There's nothing. There's just kind of a little ball and a sun that floats over us in a strange circle.
No.
And there's no other galaxies or other planet or other solar systems. Is that correct?
So, correct. Well, the Earth there could be hundreds or millions of puddles like this across the Earth plane. There could be trillions of them, right? But this is the Earth system. This is the Earth
just
system.
The Earth system.
And they're hiding extra land from us. They're hiding extra territory.
So they in this vague thing, NASA and the powers that be and all the presidents and all these other countries.
All the presidents except one go back. I'm sorry for over talking you, by the way. I do tend to interrupt sometimes. I just get a little excited, so don't hold it against me. But finish your sentence.
Okay, but I'm just saying, like, even just outside of the United States, like, we know there are vast civilizations in the world or in South America or traveling or in South Africa, and they've never broken through this so-called ice shelf.
Well, how
And
do you
would
know
think,
that?
here's the other thing is like, why doesn't somebody just take a picture and prove it? Like somebody who's not NASA.
Picture
Why
of
doesn't
what?
somebody go, I am traveling to the ice shelf. I'm going to prove this with
I just showed you.
100%
I showed you 100 pictures of the ice shelf.
Okay. Well, those ice shelves, those are
100 pictures.
You're right.
Of
Those
the
are
ice
definite
shelf.
pictures, but can't they prove that those pictures of the ice shelf are from a specific spot? Where? Just not some random picture like, oh, I saw a picture that looks like it could come from either Antarctica or the north area. You can't call it a pole.
William, so you're arguing from a place that even globe defenders don't deny that there's the ice shoreline and that there's a cliff and that it's ice all the way around. They don't deny that.
No, that's not true, because Antarctica there are places on Antarctica at certain points of the year, especially this one outcropping, that are not ice shelf. They are land. I can show you
during the summer
pictures.
When the sun is over the Tropic of Capricorn, parts of Antarctica melt. It happens every year. So check this out. So look at the app here, and I'm going to ask you a question. You see the sun circling around? Right? So the sun's circling around. If I'm standing here, you can see my mouse, right? I'm in the Arctic, right? And I'm looking at the sun. What's the sun doing? It's arcing around me, right? Okay. So now look, now I'm out here in Antarctica and I'm looking at the sun. What's the sun doing? Is it arcing around me or is it antarcing away from me? Antarctica, Arctic, Antarctic, Arctic. They're referring to the path of the sun, right? They're referring to the path of the sun. And if the globe model was true, Antarctica would be much warmer than Arctic, because during the Antarctic summer, it's 3.5 million miles closer to the sun than the Arctic is during its summer. Okay.
Okay. Well, let's just look at this. This is, to me, to you, this is just a big lie. But to me, this is what people from a variety of different civilizations have seen at this place called Antarctica, which you think is an ice shelf, right?
And I don't think it's an ice shelf. I think it's the shoreline of the world pond.
Okay. Well, okay, good. Let me
it's not an ice wall like Game of Thrones. And Antarctica used to be not covered in ice.
Okay, that's fine. But let's look. So this is a map. It's Japanese, Indians, Russians, USA. There's dry valleys, Victoria Land. There's ice shelves. There's bases. There's this peninsula there.
It's all real.
Okay, so this when people are going to Esperanza Base at Argentina's permanent Antarctic research station, this is actually the ice shelf.
Okay, absolutely. No problem. Okay. But they have it wrapped around. It's really the outside ring of a lake, not the island at the bottom of a spinning ball.
Right. This is like part of this great circle of ice that surrounds the flat Earth.
It's the shoreline of the world pond.
Okay, so it's the shoreline. So it's not pure ice. It does have some. It's just like some ridge of land.
Have you looked into Tartaria at all?
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, Tartaria was a worldwide civilization here in the 1800s with advanced technology. And there was some sort of reset that happened in the late 1800s that we came out of. And then the people that took charge of this world decided to hide it from the peasants. We're the peasants. So
something happened as recently as the 17th century?
1800s.
And what happened that?
There was a massive reset. We don't know what it was. It was a mud flood, a worldwide mud flood.
So there was a worldwide mud flood that nobody ever said anything about.
Oh, no, there's millions of researchers out there. They just don't teach it in school.
No, they don't.
Absolutely. 100%.
No, they don't.
Look it up. No. Look up mud floods. Just look it up.
So a mud flood covered the entire flat Earth? Is that what you're saying?
Not necessarily the entire Earth, a major part of it.
Major part of a mud flood. Okay.
The Earth, I mean, there's buildings in every city today that you can see that are buried in mud, that they've just moved the doors up several floors. They're underground. There's windows underground in buildings in New York City, in Connecticut.
No.
There aren't?
No, I've never ever heard that in my entire
I know
life.
Because you haven't looked, because they haven't taught.
I'm pretty well read. I mean, I may not be the smartest person on earth, but I was a history major.
So here, right there.
So again, I mean, I don't know. Some of these things that it's like there's a little detachment from objective reality that is very troubling for me.
Maybe we should kind of wrap this up a little bit.
Yeah, okay, good. I mean, I agree to disagree. I'm glad you came on the show.
Listen, no
you can
problem.
make your points. I don't have a problem with that, but I don't think I don't think you've proved to me that the Earth is flat and there's a big, large ring around that nobody's ever just followed and proven to the world.
I know
that there's a huge ice ring that surrounds this land. I don't even want to say globe.
I mean, no one's ever circumnavigated Antarctica, that's gone less than 60,000 miles.
Well, we had just one guy who walked across 900 miles of Antarctica, supposedly, in 58 days.
So let me.
And that's a lie to you as well.
Let me show you how to verify that. Can you stop sharing for a second? So in the Flat Earth, Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app, if you hit the frequently asked questions, up come all of the questions that one might have. And if you click the what about Antarctica, and if you click that, up come videos that Google will not serve to you. And in that list, we have right there at the top, Colin O'Brady's story and explaining what a deception it was using his data. There's all sorts of information in here that Google will not serve you. It's funny that, you can search for flat earth videos and they won't come up. They'll just serve you propaganda videos. Then if you hit the web button, bottom right, mud floods Tartaria. I would advise you to bring some food and water.
Tartaria. Mud floods Tartaria.
Tartaria. Tartaria.
The missing legacy.
There's maps of the world, Tartarian maps of the entire world. Just because you haven't heard of it doesn't mean it doesn't exist. So here's the
I mean, I think that you would think that a significant event like that would be recorded in history books on different civilizations, pre-internet, pre-communications. They would talk about it, but they're not incredible.
So, William, have you looked into the World's Fairs? The World's Fairs, once you understand what those were, you'll understand that they're hiding everything. They're hiding free energy. They're hiding advanced technology. They're hiding all sorts of things. They're hiding our true history because if we knew our true history, we wouldn't succumb to their tyranny. That's what this is all about. So I've just pointed to a whole bunch of doors. It's up to you whether you want to look at them or not. You can have your belief, but I like to ask the people that interview me, what's your number one proof that the Earth is a ball? Forget flat Earth proof, disproving flat Earth. What's your number one thing that makes you think the Earth is a ball, other than people told me?
People on different hemispheres are seeing different things in the sky.
Okay, so if you and I were in a room with a 10-foot high ceiling, so this is a smaller model of the world, and there's recessed lighting in the room. Now I'm going to expand that room to 20 miles wide. I'm going to send you 10 miles away in that room. Well, okay. I'm not going to be able to see you because the ceiling and the floor are going to merge together the way my eyes see. And when we both look up, we're going to look up at completely different lights in the ceiling. Works perfectly on a flat Earth. What doesn't work on a whole Earth is 6 months apart. We can look up and see the same stars when we're looking in opposite directions. In January, I'm looking over that way. And in June, I'm looking that way. And I see the same stars.
Yeah, no, man, I don't agree with anything you said. And I think that you're kind of cherry picking. I think that your look at the facts is also discounting certain things. So I just don't agree with you. I feel like what you're arguing for would be somebody like the world as the center of the universe model.
Oh, it is.
And so, no, I don't agree with that either. I mean, I don't think NASA could have that overarching control. I mean, you have this kind of like, I think your view is that NASA has that much pull to actually avoid. You're interrupting me again.
Sorry.
You believe that NASA has that much pull to influence Qantas and some of these other huge international airlines who are clearly guiding their planes through the notion of a ellipse based upon a spherical model of the Earth. And it's the same actually with shipping too. They're all traveling.
Shipping proves the Earth is flat. We've interviewed ships captains that say when they're trying to dead reckon 90 degrees in the southern oceans, or 270, which is west, they constantly have to correct to the north. If the Earth was a ball, they'd have to correct to the south, but they don't. They correct to the north, which proves that the Earth is flat.
Yeah, no. But it's not just you don't just have, and I think this is really true, and I think you should admit this that your view isn't just that the Earth is flat, it's that your view of the universe, of what other people say is out there, is completely different. You don't have just a flat Earth view. You have a flat Earth, basketball in the sky, sun that travels in a strange way as you're moving at millions of miles an hour, and everything outside of what our so-called solar. Right, exactly. What everything else is just not.
Well, you just said that the sun's circling around us while we're moving at a million miles an hour. That's your belief. My belief is that we're stationary and the sun circles around us once a day. Right? Every day the stars reset.
It doesn't account for like the midnight sun in Alaska.
There is
hold on. In Norway. No,
I'll explain that.
Those seasons,
the midnight sun in Alaska makes perfect sense on a flat Earth. Also, it makes perfect sense on a ball Earth because the sun is, and over the Tropic of Cancer, it never gets far enough away from those center places like Alaska and Norway, so it doesn't set. But then 6 months later, you should have a 24-hour sun in Antarctica.
No, there would be a picture of all the people and the billions of people on this Earth. There would be one picture of the convincing picture of the ice shelf. There would be some explorer.
I just showed you a whole video of the ice shelf.
No, that's not proof, man. If you think that's proof, I truly feel sorry for you.
What do you mean by the ice shelf? I don't understand what you mean.
You say that outside of the flat Earth, there's a huge, tall ice shelf that surrounds all the continents, right?
No, I'm not saying that at all.
Okay. Is there some kind of
is the shoreline of the world pond? It goes on. We don't know how far it goes. Might
so you're saying that all those maps that somebody has taken the time to make of Antarctica are also manipulated by NASA or some other government agency?
Go show me a satellite shot of Antarctica. They're all cartoons.
Okay. Let's see if we can dig one up.
And getting back to the 24-hour sun, 6 months later, there should be a 24-hour sun in Antarctica, but there's not. There's no 24-hour sun in Antarctica.
Well, there's not, but I think that it's certain, based upon the idea that the Earth is a sphere and there's seasons, and that the Earth travels around the sun on an ellipse, there's definitely seasons in Antarctica.
No, there's seasons everywhere. I'm saying if there's a 24-hour sun in the north, 6 months later, there should be a 24-hour sun in the south at equal latitudes, but there's not.
Okay. Let's get back. So I think the real problem you have with the flat Earth model is a definitive proof, other than some picture that somebody took of an ice shelf, which could be from freaking Greenland or Iceland or far north of Russia. Definitive proof that somebody can actually film this massive barrier around.
How can you film a 60,000 mile barrier?
Film it for 1,000 miles. Honest to God, I want to just have somebody go get a video camera with enough batteries and just film that. Okay. Somebody flying that.
Here's the problem with that.
It's not good enough proof.
The problem with that
one picture is not. It should be troubling to you that that's enough proof for you that
William,
the existence of a person.
Here's the problem with that. Nobody is allowed to go unescorted beyond the 60th parallel, which is this pink line. You can't even.
So that's another problem. Show me that proof too. Let me
finish my point. You can't even see Antarctica from there. So how are you gonna circle around and film the shoreline? And even if I did film the shoreline, you would just say it's the shoreline of Antarctica.
I wouldn't. I really honestly would love to have that proof that we're somehow encapsulated on a flat dome.
They won't let us.
Everything outside of what we see, even like hobbyists can see and look at pictures of the Earth, pictures of the moon and these other planets.
Is the moon spherical?
Of course.
How do you know?
Because I can see it in the sky. It's a circle.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to show you 4 moons right now, and it's a video. So you have to quickly tell me if it's a sphere or not. Ready? Is that one a sphere?
Based upon the shading, yes, it looks like a sphere.
It's not. It's a half a sphere. Is this one a sphere?
I mean,
Is that a sphere? Yes or no?
From what I can tell, it looks like a sphere based upon the shading and stuff like that.
It's flat. Is this one a sphere?
Okay. So
my point is just follow my point. Follow my point. This one's a cup. Point is, if you can't touch it, you don't know what shape it is.
Well, that's true. But do you believe that the moon goes through phases based upon light that hits it from some other object?
Yeah. So I'm glad you asked that question. So The moon, they tell us, the dusty, dirty ball that, the astronauts walked on is reflecting light back to Earth. Do you know what the inverse square law of light is? Can I share something?
Of course.
I just need to show you.
Go ahead. Yeah.
So on a full moon night, you can read by the full moon away from city lights, right? It's bright enough to cast shadows on the ground. It's bright light. Okay. So the inverse square law of light says every time you half the distance to a light, it gets 4 times brighter, magnitude 4 times brighter. This is science. This is NASA science, regular science.
Okay. Well, you don't even have to bring up NASA. Let's just take NASA out of the picture.
Proven science.
Can tell other than
it's
that.
called the inverse square law of light.
Okay.
So if this was just 1 lumen is the measurement of light. It's probably more like 10 lumens, but we'll just give the moon every benefit of the doubt. And you go halfway to the moon, it's 4 lumens. Cut that in half, it's 16 lumens. Keep cutting it in half. When you get 1,000 miles from the sun, it's something like 10 million lumens. So the number goes into the trillions of lumens, which would melt your face. Okay. So how is this dusty, dirty ball? Look at this dusty, dirty ball. How is that reflecting light 238,000 miles away and look this bright? This is nonsense.
So
nonsense.
What's
this
happening?
Dusty, dirty ball is reflecting light back to Earth that's diminishing exponentially, and it looks this bright from Earth. The other thing is when you look.
Let's take the light out of it. Why is the Earth? Why is the moon what we call the moon? Why is it changing shape over time, like within what we call like a lunar cycle?
So the moon is its own light. It produces a cold light, and it's because
it's not reflecting anything.
What's that?
So it's not reflecting.
It's not reflecting.
The moon actually creates its own light.
Do you know that if you get moonlight and magnify it through a telescope, like reverse through a telescope, like a magnifying glass, that point is colder? It's like a refrigerating light. If you leave meat out at night, it rots because in moonlight, and during the daylight, it purifies. Okay. The moonlight it's also very local. If you look out, you have a spotted cloud at night and the moon is up, only the clouds near the moon are lit and the other ones are not. Imagine yourself in a big giant gymnasium, pitch black, and you light a candle and you put it on the floor on one side of the gym. It's just going to cast a little light in that one area. The other side of the gym is going to be completely black. Now put some fog and clouds in there and stuff. That light, you won't even be able to see the candle flame because perspective, if you're a little guy on the floor, it's a local light. We have
right. So the moon is actually not reflecting anything. It's actually its own source of light in the flat Earth model. See, that's the whole thing about the flat Earth model.
Because look at this. This is a sphere being lit by a single source light. Where's the hot spot? That's not how a sphere is lit. A sphere is lit. It's got a hot spot and then it fades out to the edges. This thing is equally lit edge to edge. Like it's its own light.
So it's flat. Okay, so it's its own light, but why does it have, when you look at it, you can clearly see it's like a fingernail some days. They call it waxing, waning moons.
Yeah, because
it's clearly different light. So it innately changes its light over a 31 day cycle.
28 days.
20 days, sorry.
Well, so this gets a little more complicated, but we live in an
really complicated. Yeah.
What?
No, it's very complicated because you have to have some pretty strained thinking to make all of the flat Earth make sense.
If you look into the heliocentric model is the one that makes no sense. The sun is the cathode, the moon is the anode, the salt water carries the current, and the land is the salt bridge. We live in this electric system, and the Earth is negatively charged. We're electrical beings. Everything is electric. Do you know, I was in the solar power business. I had a solar power development company, and scientists do not know how solar panels work. They can't figure out how photons are coming, and they have a theory that it knocks out a boron molecule and then a little electron jumps in and it creates a current. The reason they can't figure it out is because they think the sun is a burning ball of gas in a vacuum 93 million miles away, when in fact it's sending electricity to Earth, and the solar panel is picking up the electricity and channeling it into currents. It is the simplest thing ever.
Okay, so that's the sun, but so is the current coming from the Earth and charging the moon? Is that correct?
So the Earth has a negative charge to it. The firmament, the dome, has a positive charge. Hey, you could be a flat earther. All flat earthers have cats, just so you know.
This is my new kitty. Her name is Poppy.
Nice.
She bothers me, but she's nice.
So If you want to learn more about that, there's a channel called LC King, and you'll learn all about the Earth galvanic battery system.
Okay, so the galvanic battery is charging the moon too. I've got to tell you, I got to write all this down because this is you have a completely different worldview of the cosmos. Well, it's a totally unique, because that's the thing about flat Earth truth. I guess I already stated that, but I'll restate it again. It's not just about flat Earth. It's about everything. You have a completely different view on
right?
Yeah.
All of the nonsense in space.
It's a misnomer.
They program kids before they can even talk.
Yeah, Dave, you should say an alternate cosmos theory. You have a completely unique view of the cosmos. 100%. Or flat earthers did, right?
100%. Just like every civilization before the 1900s did, even the mid 1900s. There was all the way up into the 1930s, they were teaching flat Earth across the plane.
So you have a podcast. Where can people kind of reach out and talk to you if they're
the flatearthpodcast.com has all my links. The Flat Earth Podcast Instagram, the Flat Earth Podcast Facebook page. If you want to just learn a little bit more, my YouTube channel is DITRH. It's just the initials for Deep Inside the Rabbit Hole, DITRH. But if you really want to learn about it, you Google Flat Earth, you're just going to get PsyOp Man Dan. You're going to get, Professor Dave, all of these shills that are just putting out information for weak-minded people. The Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app, it's available on Android. You have to have an 8.0 operating system or iPhone 6 or higher. It will serve you a video every day. And here's the challenge I give people. Every day, watch the daily video. There's a new video every day for 2 weeks. Short ones during the week, longer ones on the weekend. After that 2 weeks, if you can come up with one proof of the globe and send it to me, I'll give you a Bitcoin. But before you do, you have to hit the question mark and see if your question is there. And once you do that, people you'll see. People send me emails all the time. I thought you were crazy. I went to disprove flat Earth. I can't believe it. Now my family and friends think I'm crazy.
Well, you haven't convinced me, because there's a lot of problems.
I can see that.
There. I mean, the whole.
But I probably convinced half of your audience. So just be careful.
Well, I think. Yeah. Well, I think I don't mind. My audience. I just don't think that your picture of the so-called ice shelf or whatever the ridge is at the end of the Earth, like
you're stuck on this ice shelf thing. There's no ice shelf. Go to a lake.
Okay, whatever it is. Okay,
it's the shoreline of the lake.
In your picture, is your picture accurate? Because in the way I'm looking at it, there's a ring of ice around the edge of the flat Earth.
All of that is Antarctica.
Okay, so that's floating. Okay, but
that's a pond,
right?
And the edge of the pond is.
But there has to be a ridge beyond that.
No, we don't know.
There's got to be a ridge beyond that.
Here's the thing.
Okay, you don't know.
We don't know what's out there.
So space itself is right. So that's it.
We don't know, because no one's allowed to go there. It doesn't. We send balloons up to 120,000 feet. The Earth is flat. It's not spinning below us. The sun is close. It's right there. It's right there. It's not 93 miles away. If it was, the entire surface would be lit up equally, but instead it's got a hot spot, like it's kind of close to it. This is at 120,000 feet.
Dave, I think we just cut out.
Did we?
Okay, well,
I'm here.
It's been 90 minutes. I've got a lot more questions and answers, but I got to wrap it up, Dave. Dave Weiss, thanks so much. I really appreciate it. It takes a lot of courage, but I really appreciate you having that conversation. But I think I've got a much better understanding of your position on flat Earth. I think there's a lot of questions about the cosmos, but
well, you got a lot of thinking to do if you can hear me.
I really do. I still hear you. But I appreciate it, Dave. You have a great one.
See you.
Thanks so much. All right, bye-bye.
The Flat Earth Sun and Moon Clock App. A dynamic new app to teach family and friends about where they actually live. The sky is a perfect clock. The sun measures the hours and days. The moon measures the weeks and months. The star constellations measure the seasons and years. 12/12 or 24-hour clock face. Or go hands-free. The Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app with new added features. World Time. See what time it is all around the flat Earth. A true Earth compass that shows true navigation across and around the flat Earth plane. Weather. Tap for detailed local weather information. Know what phase and where the moon is at all times. Watch the sun travel between the tropics for the seasons. Select an amazing background. Add your own or have the app change it to a new one automatically every time you use the app. Add a countdown to your next big date. Learn the truth about our world with the featured video of the day. Web button for additional flat Earth related features, from the mythical curve calculator all the way to Tartaria. While talking to friends, easily pull up pictures that expose the globe lie and shine light on the flat Earth truth. Video playlists in different languages. See the real trade winds circling the flat Earth. And clean screen features. Simply click off the items you don't wish to see. The Flat Earth Sun, Moon, and Zodiac Clock app is the best tool to show your friends and strangers how our flat Earth actually works.